Former second overall draft pick Ryan Leaf was arrested over the weekend on a charge of misdemeanor domestic battery. He was released on bail and will have a court appearance in September. I'm still shocked by hearing this news. I've gotten to know Ryan a bit from covering college football, and it's crazy to read about. So, Shannon, your reaction to hearing this news?
It's disappointing. Skip, we know some of the troubles that Ryan has befallen this young man. Not such a young man anymore, but we know some of the struggles that he's had throughout his life. It seemed that he had turned his life around. He was working as a college analyst for ESPN. He come on that show a number of times. He's an ambassador for a program that helps people with addictions. And ever since he's gotten out of legal trouble in 2014, he seemed to have been on the straight and narrow. And excuse me, Skip. He was charged with domestic battery, which typically stems like someone in the family or the household. I don't want to speculate, and hopefully it's unclear if any drugs or alcohols were involved, and so it would be speculative at my part, and I don't want to do that. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I hope this all gets resolved and he can get back on with his life. It's just sad to hear. Because, when guys go through things, Skip, or not just guys, but when people go through things and they seemingly have turned their life around, you root for them because you don't know what someone is going through. And seemingly when they go through that and they come out on the other side and seem to be headed down the right path, you want them to try to stay on that path as long as possible. And so for some reason, this reared its head again, and hopefully everything works itself out. But I'm really sad to hear that because the little time that I had spent around him, Skip, I had started to like him. I was in Denver, actually, when they took him with the number 2 overall pick in 1998. And I didn't know a whole lot about him, but having him come on the show, spending a little time around him, Skip, I had started to like him. I had started to see changes in this young man's life.
So, to your point, don't know the details of what happened, don't know what the outcome will be. Obviously, any kind of domestic battery cannot be tolerated or excused, and we're not trying to do that. So let's let that play out. But Shannon, like you, like Jenny, I spent a little time around Ryan Leaf, and I feel like I got to know him the way I know Johnny Manziel. They remind me of each other in different ways. If you spend time around Ryan Leaf, he's smart, he can be funny, he can be engaging, big charisma personality. And I'm with you and with Jenny, this really shook me up because I thought once again, he turned it all around. In fact, about a year and a half ago, I asked Ryan, because I liked him so much, to play golf with me one afternoon, and he couldn't because his first baby was about to be born. And I'm thinking, boy, he's really got it all going. Then he got his own radio show, then he got his gig with ESPN, and he still has his gig, as you pointed out, Shannon, as this national ambassador for a company that runs sober housing in New York, LA, and Houston, a company that's located, 3 or 4 blocks from the Fox studio lot where we do Undisputed from. And when we'd have Ryan on the show, he'd say, this is great. It takes me 2 minutes to drive here. So we got used to having Ryan around a lot on FS1. Here we go again with 2 of the saddest stories, Ryan Leaf and Johnny Manziel, and 2 of the biggest wastes of talent I have encountered in all my years. Their issues stem from different problems that they both had psychologically. Ryan Leaf just couldn't ever quite live up to Peyton Manning. A lot of people thought Ryan Leaf should go ahead of Peyton Manning at number 1 overall.
They did.
And he went second to San Diego. And Ryan just couldn't take the pressure of it, the beating of it, to live up to what he was at Washington State, which was up there in that little tiny town of Pullman, Washington, without the media expectation and constant putting you in that brightest spotlight. Yeah, it's a barrage, it's daily barrage that he got when he went to San Diego. The pressure did get to him, and he resorted to substance abuse. The pressure never got to Johnny Manziel. pressure. He had pressure for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. He just liked to party more than he liked to play football. And ultimately, he had substance abuse issues from partying hardy. And yet, I'll take a little bit of the blame for Ryan Leaf because I've told you this story before, but the last time I actually did homework on a potential draft pick where I actually called people to ask their opinion, I got led astray. I was very close to the coaching staff in 1998 at USC. They had obviously seen Ryan Leaf a lot. He had just beaten them at the Coliseum and beaten the stuffing out of them. And I knew 3 assistants on that staff, including also the head coach. And all of them gushed to me and said, Ryan Leaf is going to be the next big thing in pro football. All of them had coached in pro football. They said he's 6'5", 235, and plays quarterback like a linebacker. Fearless. He will run over you if you get in his way. Huge arm, gunslinger. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll buy that. And I wrote that I would take him over Peyton Manning. That's the last time I've listened to anything but my own instincts. I've listened to my own sort of voice. You know, now when I tell you what I believe about a quarterback, I always tell you it's just me watching TV, eye testing, gut testing. Can he or can't he? And obviously, Ryan Leaf, I couldn't psychoanalyze him. He just couldn't take the pressure. He couldn't live up to being Peyton Manning. So what happens? He flames out. He bounces from Tampa to Dallas to Seattle, and he was gone in about 3 years. And it was horrible. And the next thing you know, he resorts to substance abuse. And the next thing you know, he resorts to burglary. Twice he gets busted for burglary, and then he goes to prison and does a big prison stint. And then he comes out and he starts to rehabilitate. And because he has such great charisma, and because we all want him to be better than he was, we root for him, he rehabbed completely. He rebuilt his life, and he's on a big upswing where I think he's got it going. And again, I hope this doesn't completely derail the rest of his life, but you don't know. It could. So in the end, Shannon, you know, every time I would ask Ryan Leaf a tough question on the air, like, why should we believe you now? After the segment, he would pull me aside and he would always say, thank you for asking that. And I'd say, why? And he said, because I deserve to be asked that. I'm not sure Ryan ever quite trusted himself. I think he knew those demons were lurking just below the surface, and he needed to be reminded constantly, okay, I'm close to going over the edge. I got to fight back. I got to, like they say, one day at a time in any sort of 12-step recovery program. You know, by the grace of God, you live one day to the next day. And the demons, they still existed for Ryan Leaf, and God bless him. I hope he pulls out of it, Shannon. But, man, this just knocked the wind out of me when I heard this, whenever it was last Friday.
You're right, Skip, and the thing is that he has to fight every single day a demon that he cannot see. You know, we talk about a fight, Skip, we talk about MMA, we talk about boxing, and we understand street fights and things of that nature. But he literally has to fight a demon, an issue that he cannot see, but he has to fight it every day. And one slip up and basically everything that you've accomplished goes out the window. And, you know, one day at a time, Skip, and, you know, it's tough. I mean, that's why so many people, you know, they lose this battle. Because you can be great for 5 days, 15 days, 10 years, 20 years, and one slip up. I just hope, Skip, he rebounds from this. He gets back on the right track. Because like you said, I don't really know him that well, Skip, the little bit that I was around him coming on the show, but he seems to understand. And Skip, everybody can't handle the pressure and the expectations. Man, I'm the #2 pick in the draft. There's really Skip, because the competition was always going to be between him and Peyton. It's just like Kevin Durant and Greg Oden. Greg Oden flamed out. Kevin Durant became what he became. That was always going to be that, Skip. That's just the way it works. And he couldn't handle it. But I just hope he's able to get past this issue, resolves itself, and he can start all over again.
Well, we're all shocked by this, and we hope Ryan Leaf gets the help he needs. We hope his family is okay, and really that's all we can say right now until we know more about the situation. Moving on, guys, it has been an interesting offseason for all NFL teams. Who has taken the best advantage of this time? We discuss next on Undisputed.